Hello and welcome to quick and simple explanation and a slash guide of how I'm doing Stratholme Undead part of life as a solo AoE oriented and spec paladin. Now first and foremost, you don't need anything extremely specific. There are only 3 main requirements, that is being 6 set of tier 2 protection, which makes your reckoning talent perk every time you block. Second requirement being 6-piece tier 1 protection, which gives you infinite holy shield charges. And the last requirement for this to work efficiently is having Hardened Frostguard sword, which gives you most of your damage income towards the mobs as a AoE Nova. This AoE Nova scales 1-to-1 with spell damage, that's why we're running Sheet of Light rune on our belt. And in general, in this spec, we're also running Consecration, but it's not mandatory to necessarily go for Wrath rune, as the improved Sanctuary allows us to mitigate and more damage, and therefore makes this easier to survive. Again, the main source of the damage will be the Hardened Frostguard AoE chance on hit, so everything else is optional. There's no need to hold W here as much, because the impact of focusing on Consecration damage will be negligible in comparison to the Forest Guard damage as a whole. I'm running also Hollow Ground Rune for extra layer of self-healing to make it safe, to make it easy and make it brain dead. Avenger Shield solely for helping with the pulls and killing some ad hoc stuff. Sacred Shield. Mana is not an issue since you're blocking a lot. Your blocks will restore 2% of your mana thanks to this Librum, which can be bought for 15 reals in Booty Bay. So Sacred Shield again to withstand extra more layers of damage, make this safer, make this faster, because the biggest time loss you can have is to die. Armor of Righteous, self-explanatory, just something extra layer of single target damage. Hand of Reckoning, in order to have the extra damage taken loss in case you drop low, otherwise there's not much else you could pick in this tree. Defense specialization for the extra spell damage you get from your Holy Shield when you use it. Holy specialization, there's not much else to choose, so we go with this. And Shield of the Righteous, again, there's not much else we can go with, so we choose this for the extra single target damage where needed. And of course, use the Seal of Dawn. Doesn't matter if you have the spell damage one or the AP one, it's mainly here to collect the Scourge Stones. For the talents, I opted for Divine Strength, Divine Intellect, as improved Seal of Righteous is useless in this, we'll be using Seal of Light for 99% of the time, plus of course Consecration and improved Lay on Hands. The improved Lay on Hands is more of a oh shit button, so it's nicer to have it on only 40-minute cooldown, plus the armor bonus it provides for the next 2 minutes can mitigate a lot of damage. Retribution, I ended up just going 0 in this tree, as deflection is negligible since you'll be blocking most of the things anyway, and these two talents are just plain useless for this place. For protection, I just put everything else. The key talent points here are Reckoning, you must have 5 out of 5, Blessing of Sanctuary, Holy Shield, and Readout with Shield Specialization, which increases and improves your blocking chances more, and increases your also block damage. Anticipation and Improved Evo Aura are free skill points, you can put them anywhere else should you desire. It's just something I opted for. It's nothing you have to follow by the book. So without further ado, I'm gonna reset the instance to show you the time and pop some consumes, and let's get started. So as I run in, I'm gonna buff myself. Holy Shield. The Divine Shield. I'm using spell damage flaws just for the sake of having fun. But you can opt out for tanking flask as well. A Divine Steed around this place, like I used to in my old boost, while popping some extra consumes. They're cheap, so might as well, right? Keep up your horn up. And we blast. As you can see, most of the damage I'm here doing is just through the procs that are being provided by the AoE Nova from the Frostguard, which is generally allowed to happen as often only thanks to the tier 2 6 set piece and tier 1 6 set piece bonuses. You can have both at the same time nowadays in phase 7. So again, checking over my consumes, I think I popped everything I wanted. Recruiting. You don't necessarily need to dispel yourself while fighting the mobs, because the goose will reapply it and other mobs pretty frequently. Food buff from the Argendon. I think I popped everything. Just for fun, might as well use the spell damage oil here on my weapon. Currently I have a spell damage against undead on my shield. But again, it's something extra nice to have. You don't need to necessarily go for these. The second pool is probably the largest one in this whole place. That's why you need to save a bubble for it in order to make it easy and efficient. Bubble here. Exorcism. Throw a grenade to pull that back. You got Eye of Nax. And we steed to the sunset. Reapply. Reapply. Some consecration healing at the start here. Make sure you keep up that holy shield at all times. And same deal as before. We try to target a patchwork here, but it's like really fucking difficult to find it here. But that's the main target we should be focusing for when doing this place. Also try to save your single target, such as Exorcism or Avenger Shield, for taking down these larger enemies or the exploding mobs that come out of the mangled cadavers. So here I lost some time because I let the patchwork click for too long. And there we go. Loot, loot. If you really want to min-max the speed of this looting, you can bind your interact with target key and have auto loot on enabled. I just left quick. Slid over the years. And it's efficient and fast as well. The next pool is pretty small, but I tend to merge it together with Undying if I get a chance. But you don't necessarily have to do it as a singular pool. It can be split into two. The main thing is we want to kill the new phase 7 boss that appears in this instance. And since we have patchwork here, we might as well just do it very simply like so. So again, keep up the uptimes on the Holy Shield. Slight running room here, because there's not much mobs I can block from. As I get more HP, I swap to Seal of Martyrdom to get some mana and damage up on this guy. And there we go. Back to Seal of Light. Just to judge it on this big patchwork. Back to Martyrdom. Dispel myself. Hopefully those ghouls won't apply it fast enough. Absolutely running on fumes here, but it is what it is. I'm gonna swap it to my main hand under Fury, so this guy dies faster. Again, the patchwork died really slow, so lost a lot of time here. Plenty of Scourge Stones. You can get around, I reckon, 7, possibly up to even 10 Scourge Stones per ID. It's a good Scourge Stone farm. Some people in Paladin Duo-Boost are also selling this as a Scourge Stone farm. Can highly recommend. Okay, the next pool is a very small one. There's nothing like oddly new to this. I'm trying to reach out these mobs. I'm gonna lay here just for safety. I never done usually those mobs up there. I just pull these 2 packs and pull it with Unforgiving. That's why the pool was so sketchy. But otherwise, you just pull the mobs here and the mobs here with Unforgiving and you're completely fine. You can already start healing straight afterwards. Self-sustain goes pretty up, pretty high, pretty steeply. The moment you get them in one spot, you start blocking everything, and you get your consecration self-healing rolling. Here we wanna focus on Cleave from Unforgiven, since he has the highest amount of HP by miles. And we might as well grab this boy. The next pull after this, I try to find some meaningful and fast way how to pull part of the Crusader Square into it. I did a hole, but the Crusader Square ahead has insane amount of casters, and casters are in general in terms of boosting for as a paladin are the bane for us, since we take full scale of damage from it. So hopefully someone smarter than me, or me personally in the end, will find a way how to do this better. By the end of the day, not doing Crusader Square for the chance of the 0.1% righteous orbs is not a big loss. After this pull is done as a whole, I will show you where your boosties also could stand if you wanna sell this as a boost, not just for raw gold farm. But in the end, as a raw gold farm, I end up doing around 800 to 1000 an hour, which is pretty decent amount considering this is just something for fun you can do in your free time. So we pull these, Ghoul, Freedom, and we bring this to the mices here. This way we get 2 stones. Two birds with 1 stone. And we get rid of the RP event, which otherwise would hinder us here. Don't forget to reapply that Sacred Shield at all times. It's extremely good free sustainable tool. Here I cleave usually from the ghouls, since they have the most annoying enrage, and they provide you with the ghoul plague, which is really annoying attack speed reduction. And since all of this build is around either Reckoning procs or just having faster attack speed through resetting your swing timer with berries, partially, then it's good to get rid of them fast. You drink up more mana, and we'll do another big pool. This is probably the same size as the second one we did when we entered the instance. But again, as long as you have bubble ready for it, it's pretty self-explanatory. Run, run, run. Once we get SoD, we're gonna bubble. You're gonna take down the shade. And steed into Narnia. While pulling, ideally, yes, we managed to pull it off. And stand in consecration and start blasting the mobs. Target the patchwork horror if possible. And keep up the holy shield. It's generally baffling me how easy this is. The moment they introduce the secondary runes, you can get to your shoulders. You can come here with basically only those 3 requirements I mentioned at the start, aka Frostguard and the 2 6-set bonuses. And you can just blast this all down pretty easily and very consistently. You don't need anything like Thorns related gear. That's just wasted money in my opinion. Especially since you're blocking a lot, so the Thorns will do next to nothing compared to your damage coming from Frostguard, Consecration and Holy Shield. The only issue I see is with the amount of loot you loot here, you're basically vendoring or destroying a lot. And quite often, either after every second run, or sometimes even every first run. So it might be good to bring repair bots, because with the amount of money you make here, especially out of the bone fragments, which on my server right now, third day into the phase, go for 4 gold each. And just in this run alone, I got 32, which equals 122 gold. And this is the last pool. Again, nothing further fancy. I hope to use a lot of iron grenades here to have additional range pulling power. And we just let the Frostguard do the work while we're keeping our shield block up. Or holy shield, rather. You can definitely do this with Brad rune as well, to get extra damage from Consecration. It won't have much of an impact in the long run, and it makes the pools a bit more dangerous. I've done this before as well, in the past 2 days. But for this video I opted simply for safest option, safest build, which allows you to get basically next to identical kill time on this entire route. And that's it. We did this in 14 minutes 37 seconds, which is basically hitting a lockout, which is all you need to do anyway, especially if you're boosting. As long as you get under 15 minutes, you're more than fine. And even if you don't, it's whatever. If you're gonna sell this as a boost, 15, 16, even 17 minutes is still very good value for the money. I can imagine people buying this for 150, maybe even 200 gold a run if it's solo, as the XP is around 180,000 per run, maybe even more. When I checked this on my ult, I was doing 600k an hour but given it was having some rested XP. So yeah, this is it. And if you want to sell this as a boost, as I mentioned earlier, the moment you clear this entire area in the second pool, you want your boosties to jump up here and stay here for the rest of the run. That way they get XP from every of the pools further down the route. And for the very first pools, they can just stay at the start and vibe there and enjoy the free XP and Argandon reputation, which is very needed. The only issue that might be dangerous here are the Eyes of Nax, but as long as they're staying on the fountain, the Eyes of Nax will, yes, spawn infinite amount of the Gargoyles, but they won't at least kill them, and you can solo the Gargoyles easily for extra rep. So yeah, that's it. I hope you had a good time, and you don't need to like and subscribe. It's just something informative I wanted to do for everyone who wants to try this and have a good time, because this is really fun and chill, enjoyable farm. Okay, see ya later.